Hello, I'm Everett, a 70-year-old father who gave everything for my son David's dream. After his death, my daughter-in-law stole our 55 million legacy and threw me out, sneering, "Go live in a ditch." The betrayal cut deep, but her lies hid a darker truth. What secret did I uncover that left her begging? Watch to find out how I turned her deception into my triumph. Rain pelted my coat as I stepped through the heavy oak doors of the West Hills Church, the damp chill of Portland's March morning clinging to my skin. The pews were half filled with familiar faces from the tech world, their whispers sharp as I walked down the aisle. I caught snippets, my name, Everett, tangled with words like sacrifice and sold his house. My son David's funeral was supposed to be a moment of shared grief, but the air felt thick with something else. I scanned the room, my eyes landing on Selene at the podium, her tailored black dress too perfect for mourning. She was already speaking, her voice crisp, claiming she carried David's legacy. "Everett was a minor supporter," she said, dismissing me with a flick of her wrist. My grip tightened on the pew, knuckles whitening, but I held my tongue. As Ben Franklin once said, "Well done is better than well said." Her words stung, erasing the years I poured into David's dream, the house I sold to fund his AI startup. I locked eyes with her, my stare steady, silently vowing this wasn't the end. The service ended, and people milled about, clutching coffee cups near the stained glass windows. I stood off to the side, catching murmurs from the crowd. "Everett funded the whole thing from nothing," one guest muttered, shaking his head. Another whispered, "Without his savings, there'd be no 55 empire." Selene glided through the room, her laugh forced as she schmoozed with David's old partners. I watched her, my mind turning over David's warnings about her ambition years ago. Like many American families, inheritance disputes were tearing us apart. My anger simmered, but I kept it leashed, pocketing the funeral program with David's photo. I'd uncover the truth quietly, methodically. As the crowd thinned, I felt erased, like a ghost in my own son's story. My heart sank, heavy as the Oregon fog outside, but my mind stayed sharp, picking apart her polished performance. I remembered building the library with David, our hammers echoing as we crafted shelves for his books. Now her greed threatened to rewrite that bond. In this country, elders like me often face dismissal, but resilience wins. As Eleanor Roosevelt put it, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." I wasn't consenting, not today, not ever. Her story didn't add up, and I'd find the cracks. A guest, a wiry man with graying hair, approached me near the exit. "Your investment built this," he whispered, glancing nervously at Selene across the room. I nodded, her glare cutting through the crowd like a blade. Her PR background made sense now. She was spinning a narrative, reshaping David's death into her triumph. Inheritance fights like this are common in affluent Portland families, testing bonds to the breaking point. I slipped his card into my pocket, a small spark of alliance forming. True strength, like a chess master's, lies in observing before striking. I wasn't ready to move yet, but the board was set. The rain grew heavier as I stepped outside, the church doors creaking shut behind me. Selene's voice echoed from inside, announcing a press conference about the inheritance. Her smile was predatory, her words a challenge. "The empire is mine now." I pulled my coat tighter, the storm matching the churn in my gut. This wasn't over. David's will, his truth, would speak louder. The rain hadn't let up since the funeral, tapping against my apartment window as I flicked on the old TV. Its screen flickered, casting a dim glow across my cramped living room, a far cry from the sleek, glass-walled conference room downtown where Selene was holding her press conference. I settled into my worn armchair, the hum of Portland's morning traffic faint outside. On screen, Selene stood at a podium overlooking the Willamette River, her voice smooth as she claimed the 55 million inheritance as my built empire. My jaw tightened. I'd handed David the check from our house sale to start that AI company, and now she was erasing me. I jotted a note. Her logo flashed on screen, one I'd sketched years ago. As Warren Buffett says, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. Her words twisted our family's legacy, and I vowed to watch her closely, silently. Her speech droned on, boasting full ownership now, and my mind snagged on a recent letter about the house deed. I'd co-signed it with David, hadn't I? I shuffled to my desk, pulling out a file. Among faded papers, a new statement caught my eye, an anomaly in the title. Her quick moves since the funeral, those whispers at the church about my funding, clicked into place. Her PR background was perfect for this kind of manipulation. Like Ronald Reagan said, trust, but verify. My suspicion grew, but I kept my cool, drafting an email to Marwood Hensley, my old lawyer friend, to check the deed discreetly. No need for a scene. Not yet. Pacing the room, rain still drumming, I felt the contrast between her glossy conference and my modest space. I'd built that company with David, pouring our savings into his dream, only to see it twisted into her American dream grab. In this country, family businesses often fracture over greed. I'd read enough estate disputes to know. My resolve hardened as I pocketed a note about the logo, sensing a bigger fight looming. Strength comes from patience, not rash anger, I reminded myself. She thought she'd buried my role, but I was still in the game. Her smug tone filled the screen again, and I whispered to myself, that's my legacy too. I wasn't about to roll over. Many U.S. seniors face asset grabs, but knowledge is power. My email to Marwood was precise, asking him to dig into the deed's history. As Abraham Lincoln put it, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. My indignation simmered, but I channeled it into a sharp plan, avoiding drama. This fight was escalating, and I'd be ready. As her conference wrapped with a self-satisfied smile, the rain outside thickened, mirroring the storm brewing in me. A letter slid through my mail slot, its return address vague but official. My pulse quickened, something about the house deed. Opening it, echoes of David's voice flooded back. This theft wouldn't go unchecked. The rain hadn't stopped since that conference aired, and now, 10 days later, it soaked me as I dragged my old valise down the driveway of my West Hills home. Puddles splashed underfoot, mirroring the financial ruin I faced after pouring everything into David's startup. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, their porch lights flickering in the gray morning. One voice called out, "That's his house, isn't it?" As the front door slammed shut behind me. Selene's silhouette loomed in the window, her stance smug. I tightened my grip on the handle, my mind flashing to David's childhood promise that our home would always be secure. Many American seniors face eviction from family homes, stats don't lie, and her greed was tearing that promise apart. This rain wouldn't drown my fight, though. I straightened up, resolve hardening. In the foyer, moments earlier, Selene's face had twisted with venom. "Go live in a ditch," she'd yelled, shoving me toward the storm. I'd shot back, "This house remembers me," my voice steady despite the downpour pounding the roof like accusations. Now, stepping into the deluge, my clothes clung to me, wheels sticking in mud. The chill sank deep, mirroring her betrayal, but my mind stayed sharp. I remembered building this house with David, our hammers ringing through long summer days. As John Wayne once said, courage is being scared to death but saddling up anyway. Neighbors' eyes followed me, turning my private pain public, but I kept moving, plotting my next steps. The rain blurred my vision as I trudged down the street, pulling up memories of storms weathered with David. I'd taught him history in our library, those shelves now threatened by Selene's ambition. Her rapid control since his death, her conference boasts about her empire, gnawed at me. In U.S. families, generational wealth often breeds conflict. Court cases prove it. My hand brushed a wet photo of David in my pocket, its edges soft from rain, but sharp with purpose. True legacy isn't money, I thought, but bonds rain can't wash away. That photo fueled my drive to uncover her lies, to fight smarter, not louder. Lightning flashed, illuminating my valise, a symbol of displacement. AARP reports don't sugarcoat it. Elder financial abuse hits too many of us. I wouldn't let her reduce me. As Maya Angelou said, you may not control all events, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. My mind raced to allies. Marwood, maybe Leland. I'd check into a motel, a temporary base to regroup. This exile wasn't defeat. It was a shift to action. I'd use my head, not my fists, to reclaim what was mine. Hail pelted down now, stinging my face, echoing the turmoil inside. That letter from the conference, still damp in my coat, hinted at deed forgery, something to pursue. As Franklin Roosevelt put it, when you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. Thunder rumbled, signaling a storm coming for Selene. Unfolding the damp paper, memories surged with new purpose. The drizzle hadn't let up, soaking Portland's West Hills as I slipped back into my old home on March 20th, the key still working despite Selene's takeover. The library door creaked open, and a musty mix of dust and paint hit me. My heart sank. Shelves I'd built with David were gone, replaced by gym equipment. Workers hauled in treadmills as Selene barked, "Clear this clutter?" I spotted one of David's history books, his notes scrawled in the margins, tossed in a trash bin. My weekends with him, hammering those shelves while he grinned over new volumes, flashed vivid. AARP warns too many American families lose heirlooms in disputes like this. My anger flared, but I pocketed a small notebook from the debris, a clue to fight back. I wasn't letting her erase us. I stepped closer, texting her from the doorway. "David's memory won't be erased." Her reply pinged fast. "Move on, old man." Her dismissal sharp as a blade. The ache from my rain-soaked exile lingered, but my mind sharpened, tying her words to the deed suspicions from that letter. Her PR skills were weaving a web of lies. As Albert Einstein said, weakness of attitude becomes weakness of character. I wouldn't be that weak. Her text fueled my planning. No direct clash, just a smarter counter. Her warning ignored, I felt the fight brewing. Days later, holed up in a dim motel, I watched Selene's live stream on my phone. The screen's glow harsh against peeling walls. March 25th's drizzle pattered outside as she unveiled her Fresh Start gym, followers gushing over the makeover. I caught a comment, "What about David's books?" before she deleted it. More questions popped up, erased just as fast, her control mirroring her legacy theft. In America's digital age, social media often masks family betrayals. My pulse quickened, but I stayed calm, screenshotting her deletions as evidence. My anger wasn't wild, it was a tool, channeled into strategy. Her smug face on screen pushed me further. Elder financial abuse spikes in tech hubs like Portland, FBI reports confirm. I breathed deep, vowing to use my smarts, not emotions, to reclaim what was mine. As Sun Tzu said, all warfare is based on deception. Her ignored warning marked a turning point. I'd escalate, but quietly. That notebook in my pocket burned with possibility, a signal of the fight ahead. I wasn't backing down, I was just getting started. Her stream cut off with a smirk, and my phone rang, an unknown number. A familiar voice whispered, "Check the codicil." Answering it, old alliances stirred and the game shifted. The motel bed creaked under me as I settled in, the neon sign outside flickering, casting jagged shadows across peeling walls. It was March 30th, and Portland's outer suburbs hummed faintly beyond the window. My laptop glowed, showing Selene's latest social media posts, more boasts about her empire, echoing her conference lies. I leaned back, the sting of her dismissing my warning still fresh. I'd poured my savings into David's AI startup, and now she was rewriting history. Justice Department reports don't lie. Elder asset grabs like this are rampant. I opened an email draft to Marwood, typing, "Verify co-ownership deed anomalies." My finger hovered, then hit send. The shift from tolerance to action felt right, like a weight lifting. In the dim light, I flipped through the notebook I'd salvaged from the trashed library. David's faded handwriting caught my eye, notes on company shares confirming my stake. She'd hidden this, thinking I'd stay quiet. As Thomas Edison said, opportunity is missed by most because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. I cross-checked with old documents, my position clear. Her ignored warning at the house fueled my stance. No more passivity. This clue was my anchor, cementing my counterattack. I'd reclaim what was mine, no outbursts, just diligence. Pacing the room, the neon buzz outside mixed with my racing thoughts. Those notebook details tied to the deed suspicions, but I wouldn't repeat my earlier finds. In American families, silent elders often reclaim through law, and I'd follow suit. My contributions demand respect, I muttered, outlining next steps. Contact allies, gather evidence, stay calculated. True power lies in knowledge, not volume. I wasn't rushing in. I was building a case, step by careful step. As night deepened, distant sirens wailed, echoing my controlled turmoil. Forbes notes, share disputes are common in tech hubs like Portland, and I was living proof. I'll stand firm, no concessions to thieves, I vowed, picturing confrontation outcomes. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The time is always right to do what is right." My ethical pushback was taking shape, my resolve ironclad. This stand wasn't just a warning, it was escalation. Marwood's email pinged, hinting at confirmation of my suspicions. My heart raced, but I stayed steady. As Winston Churchill put it, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts." The motel room had become my war room by April 5th, the neon hum outside fading as Portland's spring skies finally cleared. I sat at the wobbly desk, phone cord twisting in my fingers as I dialed Marwood. That cryptic call about the codicil still echoed from last week. His voice came through, cautious but clear, confirming a hidden provision in David's will. My co-ownership of the house was locked in, safe from Selene's grasp. My mind flashed to the notebook I'd salvaged, its pages affirming my stake without dragging up old wounds. Marwood emailed a scan of the codicil and I pored over it, lines proving my control. Estate codicils protect elders in 40% of disputes, legal stats say. And this was my shield. Confidence surged. I'd activate this now, no hesitation. The phone rang again, startling me. Leland Warwick's voice broke the silence, his familiar drawl adding weight to the codicil's truth. He recounted David's foresight, setting this up to block Selene's ambition, details fresh and unlinked to earlier clues. As Bill Gates notes, "Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose." Selene thought she'd won, but I cross-checked Marwood's info, mapping legal steps in my head. This wasn't just defiance, it was triumph building. My position felt stronger, my resolve like steel. I jotted a timeline on a motel notepad, the clearing weather outside mirroring my clarity. David's trust in me fueled this escalation, distinct from past betrayals. "My silence ends here," I muttered, focusing on legal leverage. U.S. boomers often reclaim assets through trusts. AARP guides confirm, and I'd trap her with paper, not shouting matches. Intelligence trumps volume in family wars. I outlined moves, secure documents, align with allies, avoiding any reckless confrontation. Night fell, and I printed Marwood's emails, organizing codicil copies in a folder. Court records show tech inheritances spark feuds in places like Portland, and I was ready. "I'll escalate wisely, no rash moves," I vowed, picturing Selene's reaction. Steve Jobs said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do," and defending David's legacy was my work now. Confidence grew as I prepared countermeasures, my strategy tight. The sun dipped, painting the sky gold through the window. Oprah Winfrey's words rang true. "Turn your wounds into wisdom." The codicil was my game changer. Then Marwood texted, "She's trying to bribe me." Reviewing the message, my plan solidified against her schemes. Marwood's text hit like a thunderclap. "She's trying to bribe me," right as the sun dipped low over the motel window. I stared at the screen, her desperate move confirming everything. No more games. I called him back, the phone warm in my hand. His voice was steady, describing her downtown office meeting where she'd slid photos of her lavish spending across the desk, offering discreet compensation to alter the codicil. He'd quoted the ethics code flat out, forwarding her email as evidence. I pictured her polished facade cracking, her vulnerability laid bare. Bribery in estate cases plagues courts. The FBI tracks rising incidents like this. From my motel setup, I opened the message, her boasts staring back. Fury burned righteous, but I kept it calculated. This was her escalation, and I'd use it. No mercy left. Marwood moved fast, activating the holds on her accounts that afternoon. I monitored via our secure link, watching the locks snap into place in real time. Her frantic calls to Banks echoed through his update, her voice rising in panic. I leaned back, the motel's hum fading. She wasn't family anymore, just an enemy, no ties remaining. Satisfaction crept in as her world unraveled, but I didn't gloat aloud. As Warren Buffett warns, it takes years to build trust, seconds to break it. Her downfall was self-made, and I planned the next legal thrust, embracing this offensive with clear eyes. He relayed her threats next, her words sharp over the line, solidifying her as foe. Her past manipulations flashed, nothing new, just sharper in this desperation. No concessions to thieves, I affirmed to myself, focusing on protection. American families fracture over money, and therapy advises boundaries like these. I coordinated with Leland for backup, his quick yes adding steel. Confront evil head on, but with wisdom. That's the play. Momentum built as I hung up, the room feeling less like exile and more like command. Her probing texts lit up my phone. Adversarial jabs I ignored, treating them as enemy fire. Estate fraud convictions are rising, DOJ data shows, and she'd joined the ranks. She's crossed to enemy territory, no turning back, I vowed, envisioning her panic. John F. Kennedy said, "Forgive your enemies, but never forget their names." Vigilance was my guide, channeling fury into precise plans. This marked full offensive, no remnants of tolerance. Alerts multiplied, her digital world crumbling. Her desperation signaled victory near. As Eleanor Roosevelt put it, "Do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway." A message from her begged a meeting. We need to talk, now. Arranging it, I prepared my final stand. Selene's plea for a meeting still burned in my mind as April turned to May, the motel room now my command post, spring blooms brightening Portland's edges. My phone pinged with Marwood's email detailing how Selene's business partners had ditched her. "We trusted David, not you," they'd told her, their words a nod to my initial funding of his AI startup. I leaned back in the creaky chair, the screen's glow steady. Her empire was crumbling, and my strategic patience was paying off. Harvard Business Review notes how inheritance wars fracture alliances. This was proof. I forwarded Marwood's proofs to Leland, no haste, just precision. The tide was turning, and I felt a surge of empowerment, my resolve locked in. Then her friends called, their voices dripping with desperation, begging forgiveness. "Give her another chance for David's sake," one pleaded. I saw them as her puppets, extensions of her manipulation. "She made her choice," I said coldly, hanging up and blocking their numbers one by one. George Washington advised, "Be courteous to all, but intimate with few." I felt no remorse, only focus on justice. Each blocked call sharpened my stance, the motel's hum fading as I cut ties with her world, my confrontation building without a raised voice. The air shifted when Selene showed up, pounding on my motel door. I opened it to her disheveled face, eyes red, begging, "Help me get the money back." Her voice cracked, offering shares in desperation. "Ask David's will," I shot back, my tone ice, standing firm in the doorway. In American households, such pleas often mask deceit, and I wasn't buying it. My mind branded her the true adversary now. No family left here. I shut the door, her defeat so close I could taste it, vindication rising like the spring sun outside. Her shouts came through the door, accusing me of sabotage, her voice raw. Psychologists note escalating denials are common in family fraud cases, and she was textbook. No backing down. Her reign ends here, I vowed, my pulse racing but control holding. Theodore Roosevelt's words fit. Speak softly and carry a big stick. This face-off was the breaking point, her lies exposed, my path clear. The motel felt less like exile and more like victory's edge, her accusations bouncing off my resolve. Sirens wailed faintly as her footsteps faded, tension lingering in the air. Her desperation confirmed my upper hand. Malcolm X said, "If you're not ready to die for it, put freedom out of your vocabulary." My phone buzzed. Marwood's call. It's time for the revelation. Gathering documents, I prepared for the final unveiling. Marwood's call about the revelation pulled me from the motel to his downtown Portland office on May 10th, the glass facades gleaming under a rare spring sun. Inside, the air was thick with tension as he read David's codicil aloud, his voice steady, declaring my management of the 55-mile quay. Selene sat across the table, her face paling, eyes wide as the terms stripped her control. Witnesses shifted uncomfortably, their murmurs low. My mind surged with validation. David's foresight had outplayed her. I signed the document as it passed to me, my hand firm. Legal journals say codicils resolve 30% of estate disputes, and this was mine. Selene slumped, fainting briefly, but I stood tall, offering no sympathy, just vindication. My phone buzzed mid-meeting, a notification of her failed house sale attempt, my co-ownership locking it tight. Marwood confirmed the hold, her realtor's panicked call echoing through the room. Poetic justice for her forgery attempts, I thought, her accusations now flying wildly but silenced by evidence. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, "Real change endures when grounded in law." The chains of betrayal lifted, my victory clear as I watched her unravel, no words needed. Then Marwood played David's video will, the screen flickering to life. His voice filled the room, calm but firm, predicting Selene's betrayal and detailing the codicil's setup. Her horrified expression said it all. No escape. Witnesses gasped, alliances shifting visibly. Video wills are rising in U.S. estates for protection, planners say, and David's foresight sealed her fate. My resolve strengthened, absorbing his trust in me. Her unmasking was complete, and I felt the catharsis of justice landing hard. The room fell silent post-video, her sobs breaking the stillness. Therapy often follows family revelations like this in America, shattering bonds. This ends her hold. My path clears, I vowed, signing final papers with a steady hand. Nelson Mandela's words rang true. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for it to kill your enemies. I wasn't poisoned. I was free, vindication washing over me like the city's energy outside. As the meeting adjourned, tension hung heavy. Her defeat was my rebirth. Maya Angelou said, "We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated." Stepping outside, reporters swarmed, camera flashes blinding as questions about the scandal erupted. The truth was spreading, fast. The reporters' flashes from that law office showdown faded, but by May 15th, Portland's media was ablaze with Selene's fall. I sat in my reclaimed home office, morning TV blaring headlines, widow's greed exposed in AI fortune fight. Online forums buzzed, former partners condemning her ethics, their posts sharp with betrayal. This was her reckoning, deserved after years of manipulation. Media scrutiny and family scandals amplifies justice, just like high-profile cases across the U.S. My phone rang with supporters, old colleagues, neighbors, affirming my stand. I felt no pity, only focus on her self-inflicted collapse. The spring air through the window carried a hint of renewal, and I leaned into the justice unfolding. The coverage grew fiercer by June, articles detailing her failed deals, her social circle evaporating. She tried a PR spin, but it crashed, the backlash only sharpening. I monitored from my desk, noting legal ramifications brewing. Fines, maybe worse. Johnny Cash's words rang true. You can run on for a long time, but sooner or later God'll cut you down. Truth always surfaces, and hers was ugly. My reflection deepened. Her lies couldn't outrun the evidence. Gratification settled in as I watched her pay dearly, her reputation in tatters. By August, I was drafting my Kwai speech, words honoring David's vision of tech education for kids. The venue was set, allies invited, the rebuilt library's shelves gleaming with his books. U.S. seniors often rebuild post-betrayal through community, AARP stories show, and I felt that vigor. This was always our legacy, I'd declare, Selene fading into irrelevance, reportedly working a cafe job now. My independence from her toxicity was complete, my purpose renewed in carrying David's dream forward. Her decline was stark. Local papers noted her pouring coffee, a far cry from her old luxury. Karma in family feuds plays out publicly in America, and this was textbook. My success stems from integrity, not vengeance, I vowed, savoring her accountability without a smirk. Dale Carnegie said, "Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get." I was content, my transformation cemented as the Kwai event neared, autumn leaves falling outside. Final touches on the speech kept me busy, anticipation growing. The legacy was secure, but loose ends lingered. Vince Lombardi's words stuck. Winners never quit and quitters never win. As I polished my notes, a letter slid under the door, David's old friend with new revelations. Opening it, familiar handwriting stirred fresh insights. The letter from David's friend still lingered in my mind as August warmth settled over Portland, the restored library in my West Hills home, now a sanctuary. On August 10th, I directed carpenters, the scent of fresh wood filling the air as new shelves rose where Selene had torn them down. I placed David's favorite history books back, each volume settling into place with purpose, free of past pain. Therapy encourages seniors to rebuild spaces after conflict, and this felt like reclaiming my soul. Shedding Selene's influence was vital. No more toxicity. I hung a new photo of David, his smile forward-focused. The lightness of letting go washed over me, resentment gone, acceptance taking root. I dusted the shelves myself, the room now a peaceful haven, chaos of her betrayal absent. My success didn't need family validation. It came from within. I sorted quiet documents, planning its future without her shadow. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Self-reliance is the only road to true freedom," and I felt it, vowing never to return to old dynamics. Solitude wasn't lonely. It was power. The summer breeze through open windows carried renewal, and I embraced this independence, my hands steady as I worked. Sitting in my restored chair, sunlight streamed through cleaned windows, bathing the library in gold. I reflected on life's turns, finding peace in detachment. Forgiving Selene fully was tough, but moving on was easy. I jotted thoughts in a journal, capturing lessons learned. AARP studies show U.S. elders thrive after cutting toxic ties, and I was proof. A new chapter unfolded, unencumbered, liberation settling deep. The quiet moments grounded me, the room a testament to resilience. I outlined quiet expansions, focusing on tech education for kids, David's dream alive again. Psychologists say independence after betrayal rebuilds confidence, and I felt it, stronger, alone. My path diverges here, I vowed, empowered by a self-directed future. Robert Frost's words fit. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. This divergence was my victory, not just over Selene, but over the past itself. Twilight cast long shadows as the day ended, loose threads lingering, but my core free. Maya Angelou said, "You may shoot me with your words, but still, like air, I'll rise." September 1st, autumn, leaves drifting outside. Portland's air carried a crisp promise of new beginnings. Mid-speech, I glanced at the crowd and caught Celine's shadowed figure at the edges, her disheveled look a stark contrast to her old glamour. Her eyes, wide with regret, met mine briefly before she slunk away, humiliated. Elder abuse cases show karma often plays out publicly in America, and her silent shame was proof. I kept my voice steady, undeterred, commanding the room. This was her final defeat, and I felt no need to confront her. Her exit sealed justice. I paused, briefly, the crowd's applause rising, and affirmed to myself this ended all ties. Her hurried retreat, shoulders slumped, was her self-forged ruin. My path is clear, I thought, the clapping a symbol of widespread support. Confucius taught, "Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves." But I'd chosen justice, not vengeance. I vowed no further involvement, my focus locked on forward momentum. The venue hummed with purpose, closure settling deep as I spoke of David's vision. Post-speech, I mingled, whispers of her sighting rippling through allies. Reports confirmed her menial cafe job, her status gone. I savored the deserved outcome, no gloating needed. Toasting with supporters, the mood was celebratory yet reflective. In American narratives, the underdog elder often prevails through perseverance, and I'd done just that. Lessons in resilience for future generations took root as I shared a quiet nod with Leland, wisdom anchoring the moment. I outlined the quiz expansion, tech education for kids, ensuring David's dream endured. Therapy experts say rebuilding after betrayal strengthens character, and I felt it. My actions define me, not her failures, I vowed, satisfaction profound in this self-made triumph. Frederick Douglass said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress," and my journey proved it. This dawn marked complete independence, my legacy untarnished. As sunset cast golden hues over the gathering, loose ends felt tied, but life pressed on. Walt Whitman's words fit. Keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you. As applause faded, a young beneficiary handed me an unseen letter from David. Unsealing it, fresh horizons beckoned. Discover a gripping Wanda family drama story, where betrayal and greed tear a family apart. After my son's death, my daughter-in-law seized a 55mm empire and evicted me from my own home. Days later, she came begging for help, but justice had other plans. This emotional tale of resilience and retribution unfolds in Portland, exposing raw truths about legacy and family ties. Watch now to see how one elder fights back against deception in a heart-wrenching showdown that'll leave you speechless. Subscribe for more compelling stories of triumph over betrayal.